At 13, I became homeless. My mom got arrested for selling and distribution. So she ends up in jail. I started hanging out on the streets and got myself into a lot of trouble and eventually ended up on Morgan Street. And Morgan Street was hit. When you first visit prison, you don't know what you're going to encounter. You don't know what it's going to be like, right? So you have to be always ready to go, you know? So when you're living like that, it's impossible for you to find the type of comfort, right? The type of quiet where you can reflect on yourself, right?
Once again, welcome back to the Urban Mill Initiative. Right now, I got my man, Nazario, better known as Smurf. To all due respect, I know you came up through a lot, but I'm saying, is there, what you want to be called? Like, I know a lot of people don't like to get called, like, those was the days.
Now, you know what? Thank you first for having me, brother. For me, I feel that our history, our path, right, is what it was and is what it is. So for me, Smurf, or the nickname Smurf, or Iran, etc., are all parts and pieces of what developed me into who I am. So if I leave them behind, right, then what I'm saying is that those things have no value. And for me, my nickname Smurf had value. It has a reason why I was there, a reason why I was called Smurf, and a reason why I adopted the nickname. So yeah, for sure, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, because a lot of times when people come to the office, they see your book. They don't know you as Iran. They be like, yo, Smurf, you know Smurf?
Yeah.
And I say, yeah. So anyway, just kicking the Willy Bobo, man. How did you get the name?
So I was in middle school, and my mom was using substances and addicted to substances. So I didn't have a lot of clues, a lot of resources, and all that. So when I would go to middle school, at that time the Smurfs had just come out. They were real popular in the schools. So people used to see me dressed in the same blue jeans and the same shirt all the time. So it was all blue. And I didn't have a lot of clothes, so they used to make fun of me. Look at you think you're a Smurf, la 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 la. You're singing the song to me and all that. And I was like mad. Inside I was like, So eventually I got into fights over it. They were making fun of me, so I was already angry, so I would get into fights about it. And then the more I fought and the more I won fights, the more I started mentally adopting the mindset, I am Smurf. I'm Smurf. What's up? And then eventually, I stuck to the name and it stuck with me. Yeah.
So you said, do you think like the way we was raised with like barely having clothes, you think that add on to a childhood trauma?
Oh, for sure. I mean, unfortunately, we have a mindset in some communities, man, that the only value you have is how you dress, right? Or how you appear. So young people that may not have been going through the same thing that we were going through looked at us funny because we didn't have the same kind of gear they had or the same kind of leveled up clothes they had. So it creates trauma on top of trauma, right? So however you feel at home, the lack of hope, all the uncertainty, all the things that impact you from an emotional level when you go to the school and then they start teasing you about it, it adds to your complex, right? To all the things that you feel are valuable and important. They're skewed, right? They're not in the right order, but you're young, you don't know that. So it contributes to your trauma from not only the bullying aspect, but also your self-worth, right? You feel like you're not as cool as everybody else because you're not flossing the same clothes. You're not wearing the same things. You're not as cool to everybody else because you don't have the type of clothes that everybody should have. It's a misplaced importance. However, our young people deal with that all the time. So for sure.
Yeah. It's something should be addressed though, man, because I think in order to break the cycle, especially the systemic cycle, we have to be aware of that. I guess that's why they call it social determinants or redlining, because we was dealt a bad hand.
Yes, sir.
And so you get into a lot of fights. guess you ended up in prison at one point or two.
Yeah, so at 13, I became homeless. My mom got arrested for selling and distribution. So she ends up in jail. And I have been in the foster care system earlier in my life as a young boy. So I vowed not to go back. I didn't like the experience, even though it caused some of my suffering. I just didn't want to be away from what I knew out here that was comfortable here in Hartford. And I lived in the North End at the time. So when she got arrested, I was in the house and I ran out to the neighbor's house and I hid there. So when the police was done with her, I had nowhere to go because my mom was the one that was getting the services and had the apartment. So, so eventually I started hanging out on the streets and got myself into a lot of trouble and eventually ended up on Morgan Street. And Morgan Street was here in Hartford. So I was 15 years old. Back then, you didn't have to be 18. Like now, you have to be 18 to be in adult prison. So I went to there with the adults. I turned 16 while I was there, and then got back out and kept kind of barreling down that path and getting into fights. So yeah, I ended up in prison or jail several times after that.
Yeah. Okay. And so, did prison? Did it like redirected you, or did you reestablish yourself?
Nah, I mean, it took a long time, because as you know, and some of the brothers that you help, when you first visit prison, you don't know what you're going to encounter. You don't know what it's going to be like, right? And you have factions of people who are broken in there that immediately see you and maybe they feel like they can get one up on you, or they feel like they need a status because of you, whatever. So people challenge you on a regular basis, especially when we were growing up. We didn't have as many of the gangs that we have currently. We have more hoods, communities, projects, like different alliances with community. So when we went in, if I was from the North End, we automatically had beef with the South End, or we had beef with New Haven, or we had beef with Springfield, whatever it is. So it didn't allow you time to really process you because you had to be always ready to go. So when you're living like that, it's impossible for you to find the type of comfort, right? The type of quiet where you can reflect on yourself, right? So for years, man, every time I went in, it was some fight here and there, some beef here and there, something there. So it didn't allow me to grow in any way, shape, or form. And then you combine that with the fact that when I came home, I didn't have anywhere to go. So every time I would leave prison, I have a place. So I would be homeless. I'd be bouncing from house to house. So how do I recover when I go back to jail? Got beef, become homeless, beef, homeless. You know what I mean? So it was just a cycle of violence and uncertainty and fear that I had to behave a certain way. So it didn't help me at all. I didn't have programs, I didn't have counselors, none of that kind of thing that is a lot more available today. So yeah, I just gravitated, or I used the skills that I had, which is fighting or being involved in that kind of lifestyle.
Mm. Yeah, you could get the best of you, like,
for sure.
But I know you represent your culture tough, man. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel when you be seeing like other people in your culture representing, like rappers or artists, or celebrities?
Yeah, I'm a proud Boricua. I am 1,000% for the culture, for our race, right, for our past, for our indigenous past. So yeah, I feel proud and honored. And again, I feel that if we have a platform, we should represent what we aspire our community to be, right? So if I'm on a high elevated platform, my purpose and my responsibility is to model what I want my community to become. So if whoever it is that's an athlete, whoever it is that's a celebrity, or whatever the case, whatever status they have, I feel it's really important for them to model what our society and community should look forward to. So yeah, I'm definitely very proud. I wear the tats, Taino all day. I was honored 2 years ago to serve as the padrino of the Puerto Rican Day Parade. So I was able to march as the godfather of the parade. This year, I'm marching in the first ever authors portion of it, with a bunch of us who are Latino authors are going to march together just to show our capacity to read, write, create books, right, create stories. So yeah, I'm all down with that.
Sure.
Wait, and if I could say real quick, though,
yeah.
For me, culture, right, the culture that we have, has to include other folks with other cultures and other backgrounds, right? I think culture is only as strong as the bonds you have with people who are not from your culture, right? Who are people who are not from your particular spaces of growing up, your particular, what I say, like cultural habits, cultural histories, because there's such a connection between Latinos, Boricuas, Tainos, right? Africans, you name it. So the more our culture embraces that, the stronger our culture is, right? So for me, culture is inclusive of every culture because we're all, if you look at our lineage, we're all connected at some point, right? We might have different shades, but we're all connected. So that's what culture is to me. So hopefully, the people I look up to are reflecting that.
Yeah, I mean, I get into it, man. Like, I know your coaches sometimes they real strict on people dating outside of the coaching, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, there is a segment of almost every culture that has a mindset that in order to at least have the culture evolve or make progress in the way that it was meant to be, that they should date within their own culture. I'm not a believer in that. I feel that for me, if you love someone, you learn their culture. They love you, they learn yours, and collectively you actually strengthen culture, right? I think there's so much to learn about other people, and I'm a study. I study people. I learn people, and for me, if I'm involved or engaged in a relationship, whether it's friends or actual like a romantic relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person can't evolve to love your culture. You can't evolve to love theirs, right? We have been mixed as cultures, man, since before you and I even thought of, right? And the world has survived, right? And for me, I've seen plenty of what I call interracial or intercultural relationships that are thriving and successful. So yeah, there is a segment of it, especially the more old school folks. I don't think it waters or muddies down your culture. I mean, if you look at the bloodlines, man, you have Africans or indigenous, bro. So if you have those two, you do a DNA test, brother. How many of us show up as Spanish, African, or Taino, man?
I know a lot of people who came to this country and they look at, like my culture, and they get like a negative image because the negative images that was put out.
Yeah.
And then that's why people like to stay away. A lot of other coaches would think that our coach is lazy. But they don't know the history behind it. Saying working on those cotton fields will make you tired and all of that, man. But this ain't one of those cultural segments, but I would just like to always, keep it to see your aspect of how do that go, like, what I'm saying? But I know in New York, we everywhere with it, what I'm saying? But when I come out here, they strictly, and then, you got the guys on the corner making sure the girls don't talk, they overprotective.
Yeah.
So when you saw Carmelo Anthony talking about, that's my man, I rep my man because I'm about to do a tribute to him now. Yeah. But when he was saying the flag is on his chest, how did that make you feel, like?
Man, I was proud, man.
For real, right?
Yeah, man. I stood there, because again, I followed his career when he was out, active. Didn't know how deep he felt about the culture, though. I didn't know his stance on the Puerto Rican culture and just overall his growing up experience. The tribute that he paid to his lineage, right, his culture,
and to the fathers,
and
single mothers.
Oh, for sure. He was, again, a very very powerful statement because, again, nowadays, as you mentioned earlier, there's a very intentional movement to divide our cultures, our people, with dismissive and divisive content. However, I know for a fact that we share more than we don't, and for him to step up there in his moment. That's his moment. He could have been like, I did, right? He could have, But nah, he said, I'm going to pay tribute to where I come from, man. That's really unheard of from a person who had as much success as he's had. So for me, I was extremely proud. And I said, big ups to you, man, for sure.
It touched me when he said, he got his flag on his chest.
Yeah, man.
Talk about his father. Although his father ain't there, he made him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's powerful, man. I've heard that man speak throughout his career.
And I know that brings unity amongst amongst the coaches.
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
Look, bro, like if you look at whatever statistics that are really accurate statistics, right? There's tons of statistics out there. If you just sit within a room of people who grew up in the same neighborhoods, many of us are going to be able to relate to what you went through. We're not going to say I went through what you went through, but we're going to be able to relate to some of the aspects of it. So when you talk about poverty, right, you talk about disenfranchisement, when you talk about lack of resources, disinvestment in our communities, all of us have had some type of consequence due to those things, right? So why not, now that we have some platforms, right, people in positions that where they can speak to the masses, speak on our connection, speak on our humanity, speak on the connectedness that we have, because that's only going to serve us in the future to build up communities like we want to do right now. We're going to work at that, but we can be out here on all level doing that, but it's going to take people who have more voices, help probably people who are at higher spaces to really move the masses the way we want them to move, because we love each other, we care about each other, we've suffered some of the same traumas, man. We walk around these communities with all kinds of crosses on blocks, city blocks, that all impacts all of us. We don't have to walk by them communities like that. You know what I mean? So why not do it, man? Again, much respect to you, man, for doing that. Show Carmelo.
That's what man told, man. So what we at today? What you doing today?
So today I'm the principal owner of Nazario Motivation LLC, which is a consulting company in Connecticut. And what we focus on is middle and high school students leadership development, focus on helping organizations with strategy and vision development, so you can help your clients better, you can help your systems better and your groups better. And then lastly, I'm an author. I'm publishing books. So I've published 2 books so far. Working on my 3rd book. My 2nd book will be out in 10 days or so. So yeah, that's what I do right now.
You want to put the book up?
Oh yeah, for sure. So this is my first one, Reach to Peace. I wrote this 2 years ago in August, and this is my 2nd book. It's called The Original Peacebuilder. And this book here chronicles my purpose and my journey into peace building work. So this is my memoir of my life story, and this is a follow-up to this one. This one talks about more about my career, what I did in communities, why I did it, and what the impact that we've had doing the work. Yeah, because I think it's important.
You want to just share with everyone how they can get in touch with you?
For sure. So if folks want to reach me, they can reach me at nazariomotivation@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website, nazariomotivation.com. NAZARIO motivation, MOTIVATION.com. Again, it's you can go to the website. You can just look up my name, Iran Nazario. It comes up on different search engines, so you can find me. So yeah, these are the 2 books, man. I'm really proud to have done it. This one took me 7 years. It was a hard book to write, man. It was just a lot of emotion, just reliving stuff. You know what I mean? This one was a lot easier. This one took me a year to write, because again, it was more focused on my career. So yeah, man, I'm really proud, and I run the organization with compassion. And I believe everyone should be included in what I do. I'm a listener. So yeah, if you want to find me, NazarioMotivation.com.
You said it took you 7 years?
This one, yeah. This one was hard, man. It's just,
Now, is that relating to, you used to be in gangs and all of that?
Yeah. So this one focuses on kind of the social, emotional aspects of my life, meaning all the different traumas that led me to make some of the decisions, my realization, how I didn't want to repeat the cycle, the homicide of my brother, things like that. So this was a hard book to write because I had to relive those moments, you know what I mean? But I'm glad it did it. And the cover, if you see the cover, so people ask me why the cover, right? So this is me, this is me actually at Cheshire Correctional. So this is a picture they took of me when I did intake. So I kept it all this time. And as the picture broke, throughout the years, I took a copy of it. And what it says is I was broken. I was a broken child, broken kid. And then this is me when I'm able to be healthier of mind, healthier of spirit, and then connected with people that gave me the help. Because many times, as you know, you work with a lot of good brothers. we don't seek out mental health therapy. We don't seek out that social and emotional support. And when we do, we realize just how powerful we are, right? Because it's not weakness to need help, right? So when I got help and I was able to then realize some of those things, like it became healthier, as you can tell by the cover. So that's why the cover's like that. So it was a tough book.
It's crazy because mine is just the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, me serving 22 years when I was in prison, my prison photos, you'll think that I'm relaxed and comfortable. I'm good. I came out here, that's when my gray hair started popping. You know what I'm saying? Stressed monkey out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of my things was we got this tendency of seeing everybody else's success and then we automatically try to catch up with that or that image and all of that. So, you know, as you mature, as I matured out here, I knew that that wasn't my route. So I stood inside of my route, which was to help my population. You know what I'm saying? And, that's where I'm at today. But it's crazy how that picture, mine was completely different.
Yeah.
Because I was like, somebody had brought it to my attention. I'm like, bro, look, this is you when you was in prison. I was relaxed. I was no hair, no gray hair. I went in jail at the age of 26.
Right.
I did half my 20s, all my 30s, all my 40s, and came out at the age of 50.
Okay.
Came out good. Looking good, but health-wise, you didn't know what was going on inside.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you eating kibbles and bits in prison. Nothing. Within 6 months after the honeymoon and all of that, that's when they start getting brown. You know, when you're in prison, you know, those fruits you used to get, all that was free.
Yeah.
Come out here, you know, there was some money for one little apple now. You know what I'm saying? So it was a culture shock for me.
Yeah.
And then I came way out here. But you was the one who introduced me to my first space. You know what I'm saying, with script.
Yeah. For sure.
And we went to class at school together, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so I just wanted you to put it out there, what you're doing, how you're doing it, what is it taking? Like, I know that nothing happen overnight.
Nah. Now this is, look, first of all, thank you for sharing that story, man. And I've seen your grind and your hustle out here, and I think it's important for you to state we find our path, our track, right, and we master that, right. We find our purpose and passion, and we master that. And you've done that. You pursued the thing that your heart wants, right. A lot of times we pursue the money, we pursue the gift of money, or whatever that is, or the curse of money, depending on how it's treated by you. When you pursue your purpose and your passion, those opportunities to make a living come with it, right. And it's difficult because you have to not only assimilate, acclimate to whatever it is that the business world needs you to do in order to be successful. And even in business, in your business, my business, there are policies, there are things in place that are difficult to overcome if you're a person just starting off, right? They have all these particular things in place that make it very difficult for you in the first 6 months, 8 months, etc., to build your dream, build what it is that you want to do, because some of these things don't consider where you came from, don't consider what you're dealing with. They just say black and white. You need this and this, and I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges that I had as a business owner, right? Just kind of getting over that perception hump where people say, well, you need these titles behind your name, or you need this particular clout in order for us to even give you some support, right? And that's where I think some of the gray hairs come in, right? Then people are, especially most adults, right? We have already established habits, patterns, and thought processes, and it's hard to bring somebody into what you're passionate about without working hard to get them to understand it, right? So for me, I feel that the work that we're doing is valuable. I feel like in order to be in the space where you're an effective business owner, you have to stay consistent, and you got to go through some of the challenges, right, that this presents. And there are no assurances. The only assurance you have is how you dedicate and you commit yourself to it. And it was an honor for me when you came over and I met you and I knew what you were doing. to advocate for you. I felt your genuineness to your work. Your drive was like insane. You weren't going to allow anyone to dictate or determine what your path was. You already had the clout, and especially with brothers who unfortunately in the system. But you also had developed a reputation in the system for being someone that could deliver on results, right? So why not say, hey, brother, look, if this is an area where you are having a difficulty, right, whether with space or whatever, why shouldn't I help, right? Like, why keep it for myself? I can't solve everybody's problems, brother. I need help. So you there and other team members are there. So, yeah, man, it's a daily grind. Don't come easy, man. Mm-hmm. But it's here. It's important. Like, one of the things that I say, like I say lastly, we gave, when you were out there and I was out there, we gave so much effort to that lifestyle. You know, when we was out there banging out, whatever we was trapping or whatever we was doing, we gave it 100% of our effort, bro. Like, we were smart, we were witty, we gave it everything. So if we turn that around and give it the same energy to this, right? The success is not going to come as quickly, but you run less risk, right? Of being chased down, hunted down, or whatever the case might be, or creating more enemies or hurting the community. So just give this the same level of energy we gave the streets.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what it takes.
Yeah. So once again, we got Mr. Arez, better known as Smurf. Could you just please repeat the address and how they could get in contact with you once again?
For sure. Once again, thank you for having me. Appreciate that. NazarioMotivation.com, NAZARIO, motivation, MOTIVATION.com. You can catch me there, or you can email me, NazarioMotivation@gmail.com. Thank you so much, John.
Once again, Urban Echoes. Have a great day. Cool.
Appreciate that, brother.
Yeah. That's therapeutic too, you know that.
Yeah, for sure. It's like therapy. It's like a session, man.
Yeah.